I think as long as that's sometimes the case, then maybe players will let you get away with the. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think a long rest. Yeah, it's a sure. Yeah, I think. What would that? I think that's called like. There's a name for it. I've heard it before. It's like, tougher rules or hardcore mode or things like that. It's honestly, it's another. It is. It's a learn as you go, and it's another one of those areas where I'm not sure what kind of games, the designers, the fifth edition designers, what kind of games they play or what kind of games they expect people to play, because there's not a lot of resources or a lot of that sort of thing built into, a lot of how they kind of teach people the game. But it's good to work out. It's good to work out at the table too. Different groups want different things. It's a very flexible system. I feel like for all the crap that, especially lately, that 5th edition and Wizards is getting, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, how many other games have intentionally or unintentionally sort of spawned all of these game designers? Like, it feels akin to, like, there must be, like, really popular, like, game modding communities, right? Like CSGO or, I think of, like, back in the day, like, all the modded, like, Half-Life maps that I played and stuff. Like, this has to be comparable to that in terms of, like, as a result of 5th edition's both popularity and design, look at how many people have, like, launched creative design careers in various, like, oh, they make homebrews, or oh, they make magic items, or oh, they make... It's massive. I mean, who knows how to quantify it, I guess, but it feels like feels really substantial to me. So tricky keeping in a vertical camera view for TikTok, keeping even most of the dragon in frame is a real challenge. Here's my hourly reminder that I do have Twitch going, and that's got a nice overhead camera and a face camera and everything. Like, it's a considerably better viewing experience, but hey, I'll stream everywhere. I don't care. Everywhere I can manage. Yeah, I mean, depending on what phone you have, sometimes that's the better. So let's see. Yeah, I've been using old phones. Those have been my, like, primary cameras as I've been sort of experimenting with streaming. And, like, that's what I use. That's what I use for my face camera with any of the stuff that I've been doing, because it's the best camera for sure that I have. Let's see here. God, yellow is such a tricky color. So tricky. Let me quickly take a look at my cheat, my reference. And then I think probably, and that'll give the wings a little bit more time to dry. I think a lighter dry brush on the wings before I like better define all of the black kind of bone work. Yeah. Okay. So I'll do the claws. I will say that streaming painting and also building a little bit has definitely changed how I do those things, because you are always kind of, it has to change my posture, to change where I hold things, have to change the distance that I do things at. Like it's like relearning how to do it a little bit. Like, yeah, I can feel myself doing this different than normal. Still getting used to it. What else did I do on the stream earlier today? It's not related to a black dragon, but designed a feat for a cleric in a new game that I'm starting. And it's a feat because it's tied to the cleric's custom, what do you call it? He's got a custom sort of death domain. And it's a domain kind of about understanding how someone died and sort of explaining it. And it's sort of like a death investigation demigod that he follows. And clerics will ultimately get the opportunity at some point to like speak to dead. But A, I didn't want to wait that long, and B, I wasn't really crazy about that for like the flavor of the You're fine, Arcane. You don't have to talk more. I appreciate any input you give. You're cool. No, so anyway, so the feat, I think, what did I call it? I called it the Vestige of Death. And it's not a spell. I don't know what I would call it. It's just a thing that it's an ability granted by this guy's custom sort of domain, custom that's what they're called, right? Yeah, cleric's domain. And the way that it works is if he meditates on, either by touch or by just kind of thinking about someone who's dead, he can roll a D100, and if he is able to make contact with the dead body, he can add a number. He adds his cleric ability score to it. He adds an amount to it if he knew the creature, the deceased when they were alive. And then based on that determines the fidelity of the vision he receives, basically experiencing the final moments of that creature before they died, seeing how they died and the nature of it. And the trick is, the reason it's not a spell is the cost is that in order to experience this, coming out of the vision, the cleric dies. So the cleric's reduced to 0 hit points and has the option, like they're basically 0 points, 0 hit points and stable. And they have to, they can either choose to use a hit die if they have it to basically restore a number, or they have to be, basically stabilized or revived through any normal means. That's the big idea. So it's not using spell slots, but it actually, it's like, yes, it's almost like I think Flatliners was the movie that did this. It's almost like, yeah, you can sort of see through their eyes as long as you're willing to die. And then you can do it as much as you want, as long as you can keep, recovering that way, at least until anything else changes for that character. But so I'm excited to try that one out in game and see what that one feels like. Okay, starting to get there. I'm not great. I feel like I should do something with the frill. He's got this whole fringe thing up top. Maybe it's just, you know what? Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. It's just more of this purple. Wait, Arcane, you say you're working on a keep. Have you seen pictures of this? I can't remember. I feel like you've mentioned the keep. Yeah, I've seen pictures. I think I've seen pictures of you working on this, or like the in progress stuff. If not, I just invented it in my head, but I think I have. Gotcha. So I'm inventing a keep in my head, but I bet it will be more awesome than what I'm imagining. That's exciting and daunting. I've only made one like home base for a group, and it was their guild hall. I think I've used it in a video or two at this point, but I had lots of big ideas for it, and I'm definitely gonna have to use it in another game at some point, because what I wanted to be able to do is like actually kind of change it as they like defeated monsters, like put things beheaded on the walls and pictures of places they've been, and never really got that far with it. But it was built and it was painted, and it was I mean, they'll return to it for sure, but the nature of their game has sort of shifted because they found out their guild was being run by a lich, so they're a little bit on the run now, or about to be, I should say. But it's super fun. Like, I spent almost the entire session sprucing. I've been looking for. Okay, sweet. Closest thing I think I have to a keep I made. I think his channel is Tabletop Witchcraft on YouTube, and he has a lot of like epic builds, and he has one like stronghold, castle, keep. It could be probably explained a few different ways, but it's good stuff. Very, very exciting. I got to probably the most fun that I've had, or one of the most fun things I've done DMing is in my kind of the campaign that's focused on running a guild. The first sort of half, they're level 9 going to be level 10 very shortly, and the first half of their campaign ended up being all about, it's all about kind of reviving this old guild and recruiting. And when they were at about level, I want to say 3 or 4, I gave them basically a bunch of prop puzzle pieces, a bunch of prop items that contained a big puzzle, and I didn't tell them. So this is a little look into how I DM. I gave them basically cool stuff that had very, very obviously apparent benefits to them to look at, and that they would probably think are like, okay, this is cute that Ryan, that he made this for us. So like one was like an old wizard's journal. One was like this, kind of wooden box that held some trinkets in it. There was another that was a big rolled up map of their world. It was dated like 1,000 years in the past. Basically, all these kind of like relics of a past. A bunch of scrolls of songs from an old bard. They were basically like artifacts from an old dead adventuring party.